So as I said, I'd start doing full match commentaries again. And in this match, I'll be playing Dagger Pistol Thief. And our team comp has 2 Hollows, a 1v1 Weaver, and a Core Necro. So our team fights are probably not the best because they have Arcan on the Firebrand, and that's just going to be insane in team fights. So we're probably going to want to play sides here. Now, I open on the Core Necro, but there's really not too much focus on the Core Necro because, as I said, they have Arcan to give out a lot of defense, and we don't really have too much Boon Rip other than a Core Necro, but those don't really run that much Boon Rip anyways. So I try to stick to the Core Necro, but they go in Shroud, so I back off and I try to just fear and delay for time there. I fear them through the wall, and I wait for my, because I have blind right now, I don't want to steal into the Necro with the blind up, so I wait. I land a nice backstab into a Heartseeker, but my Necro goes down. I land a nice fear, and I precast my Signet of Agility into the fear so it doesn't get blinded, so that I can get that res there. And then that allows us to get the kill on the Necro. And we're in a downstate situation here, so I just spam Cluster Bombs as fast as possible as soon as I recognize that, and I share Basilisk Venom to my team, and we get the kill on the enemy Guardian. Now, since we've won the team fight at mid, miraculously, I want to go far because we died at home, and if I go there then it's going to be kind of weird because we want to get a little bit more momentum. So instead I go to far. This is a Condi Rev, and I have a Weaver here, so this is a bad matchup for the Weaver, and a Core Necro is coming in too, so I immediately think that this is a really bad matchup, this 2v2, because they can just wail on my Weaver and they can just kill it because Weavers don't have really good Condi Cleanse. So I'm just trying to delay and get a little bit of aggro off of my Weaver so that they can disengage, and then I'm going to re-stealth here and see if maybe they'll allow me to go for the decap. But as you can see, the Rev is just standing there, so I swap to immediately jump on the Necro. The Necro pops some of their cooldowns, so I swap to the Engineer instead, and I throw out a Choking Gas here and some of the Engineer Stolen ability just to cleave long enough for my Hollow to get the stomp. Now that the Revenant has rotated out and isn't trying to stop me, I can create distance and go for the decap. And with that, we can go back and outnumber mid. My team is actually calling targets for me at mid, so that's really nice. The Core Necro just left Shroud, but I instead choose to chase the Condi Thief, which is honestly a bad decision. I should have just stayed on the Core Necro, especially because he had just left Shroud. Now, because I made that bad play, we don't really snowball into mid with the outnumbered situation that I created with Far, and I'm kind of in a bad situation because now we're in an even fight, and my Hollow has gone far to take the 1v1. So at this point, I should go far and +1 the 1v1, especially because, yeah, we don't really want to be team fighting against a Firebrand. So I stay anyways for whatever reason, and I'm just spamming Cluster Bombs, waiting for the moment that I can get the big burst and get the kill. And it looks like their Hollow is actually really low. I mean, we are 3v2ing this, and I get a really nice Heartseeker there. I put Black Powder down so that I can blind and the Engineer Stolen ability, but we're a little bit outnumbered here, and we don't really have any down cleave because most of our cleave is from the Hollows. So there's not really much we can do. So I just try to delay here as much as possible, but don't invest too much that I'll die for it, right? And our Engineer died at Far in the 1v1. That's probably not a good matchup there. And yeah, so now we're in a really bad spot, so I'm looking to just stall the enemy. My Necromancer has gone to Far, and yeah, they're leaving Far or something. But yeah, we're just looking for a kill in Rhodes here. So I go on Arcan, I see that he's casting a Mantra. Interrupting a Mantra on Firebrand is really important because it sets them back really far, because then they have to channel it again or just decide not to use it. I get focused here. This is where you just see Signet of Agility is so insane because it completely allows me to ignore the Condi Thief's burst a lot of the times. And so I go back to far and I +1 this. The Revenant used its glint heal, so I decide not to pop my cluster bomb so it does as little damage as possible, so it does as little healing as possible. And I just spam interrupts and Basilisk Venom so that we can lock down the target and get the kill. Now at mid we're probably losing that because I left this. The Condi Thief comes to the +1, but they're a little bit late. I've already got the kill at far, so I don't really need to stay here though because my engineer should win the 1v1 versus the Condi Thief as well. So I go to mid instead, but I know that the Condi Rev that I just killed is respawning and will be at far soon, most likely. So I should go back to there. I try to pressure their core necro and bait out a little bit of their cooldowns, but the Condi Thief targets me and I have to shadow step out. Now the Condi Rev is dueling my engineer on node. It's really dangerous because, you know, my engineer can get focused by both the Condi Rev and the Condi Thief and they won't have enough cleanse for that. So I try to peel for them as much as possible, and the Condi Thief chases me, so I've peeled for them essentially, and now I can go out and maybe do something somewhere else. The engineer does eventually die because the necromancer catches them in roads, and now because we basically lost the whole map, I just decide I'm gonna go home and just zerg that because I'm not gonna get any results anywhere else, so I might as well just secure the kills at home, play safe, and then we can regroup and then push into mid from there. So yeah, it looks like, so we got a kill at home and they got a kill on us near mid, so we're still in an even fight. So this is, I need to be safe here. I just spam out a little bit of choking gas because I just want to interrupt them and make sure that they don't do anything. I get a nice steal on their heal to prevent them from using their Malik's heal, and at this point my necromancer is going to die, so I go for a quick stealth res, but I get revealed, so I immediately have to disengage on that, and I stealth up and decide where I want to go. My Hollow is capping home versus the Firebrand, and that should be a good matchup, and I look for a decap on far while we're unable to do anything at mid because we've died. So I get the decap at far, which is nice, and the Condi Rev is coming to me to try to retake their node. Now I can actually 1v1 a Condi Rev, so I stay because there's really not much else that I can do on the map. So I land some nice interrupts there and get them really pressured, but it looks like the enemy Hollow is coming in, so I do want to stay on the Revenant because the Revenant is much more killable than a sort of prot Hollow kind of build. I'm not sure exactly what they're playing, but yeah, the Hollow meta is very tanky, so I do want to stay on the Rev. If my teammate decides not to help me off the node, then that's their prerogative. It's a decapped node, so I don't feel that it's that valuable to fight for right now. I clear the blind and I land a really good Heartseeker right here into the tail of the Revenant, and I just, you know, when they have their glint heal up, I just wait and make sure that I don't take too much damage, and I cleanse some Condis right before I want to land some damage just to make sure I don't have slow or blind on me, and I finish off the kill on the Rev. Now at this point I'm going to +1 the Hollow, but I know that the Condi Rev is respawning, and if we get in this 2v2 and the Condi Rev comes back, we're kind of in a bad situation. So instead of going too aggressively for the kill on this Hollow, I just go for the cap because I know that I might have to just swap targets eventually, right? Because right, the Revenant's going to come back. But once we get the cap, I leave and I head to mid. There is a Condi Thief here and a Core Necro. I jump on the Condi Thief and do a burst, but it doesn't crit, and I eventually have to disengage because they're in stealth and I don't want to get opened up on, so I line of sight a little bit. I do go for the decap here, but I don't know where the Thief is, so I put some choking gas down just in case. The Thief is still there with the Core Necro, so I have to disengage, and I end up going back in because I see that the Condi Thief is kind of over, extending, and I get a really nice backstab into Heartseeker, and I just try to finish off this kill here. You have to be really, careful around Condi Thief downstates because they do a lot of poison. So yeah, we get that kill there, and I'm really pressured, so I just need to reset. While I'm resetting, the best thing to do is to get out of combat, right? So changing the fight that I'm in is often a good decision, right? I do decide to stay though, even though my heal is on a 10-second cooldown, because I see Arcan is low. I get a really nice Heartseeker steal, and at this point, I don't want to play around with downstates, right? Because, there's a core necro nearby, that could get rezzed. So I just make sure that that gets cleaved. I'm keeping an eye on it, as you can see there, as I pressure the core necro, who is standing on the node. And now we can just 3v1 this core necro because they decided not to fight with their guardian. Now I go into far, and my hollow is holding a 1v2 very well, and well enough that I can just score the kill instantly. So that's a really good job there. The Condi Thief jumps on me, but they have no stun breaks, and my team just jumps on them. I think a really well-timed Gale by our Weaver, and we get the Condi Thief down. Now I think that's the Firebrand and the Core Necro are rezzing, so we don't really have enough cooldowns to prevent that at this point. So we kind of have to leave because we're really low and they're just coming off spawn with full cooldowns. So I'm being careful. I see that their Guardian is actually rotating out though, so they're probably going to decat mid, but I can't 1v1 a Guardian, so I stay here to 3v2 them at far. And the target is obviously the core rev, but it could be the necro at any point if they leave shroud. Yep. As you can see, I'm swapping to the core necro. I get a nice little Heartseeker there on them, and they've just left shroud, so I want to interrupt them as soon as they use their heal skill. They don't do too much though, and I get a nice Bassi to stun them in the rest of my team's damage. And yeah, just blinding them to make sure no funny business happens, where they can get like a fear off or something. Yeah, and I dodged through the fear ring there and swapped a short bow immediately so that it cleanses the fear. At this point, we want to go into mid. I see that my necro is dead. I go for a stealth res here, and my Weaver comes to help, but their Condi Thief sees that and they choke and gas, which prevents us from really rezzing. But maybe they don't know I'm in stealth here, so I go back in for the res maybe. No, there's no chance for that res. It's way too low and not worth it. So yeah, that's another thing, is you want to be careful about over investing into reses because a lot of times they're not even worth it. So I go instead to plus the home node. I don't really have many cooldowns left here, so instead of going too aggressive with my melee, I just swap the short bow and use autos to pool my energy or my initiative. And we do get that kill, which is really nice. Now we're 3v1ing this Condi Rev. So this is going to be a really easy kill, but their core necro is coming in. So instead, I don't want the core necro to come in. I want them to 2v1 that instead of 3v2 this. So instead I try to pull the necro to mid, and I see that their Guardian is at mid too. So I'm looking at the map state, and we have sides, and we don't need to push mid because if we just own sides, the game's about to end and we'll get more points than them eventually because we've got 2 caps. So I instead go to far. Now I see that their necro is coming to far, and this is really bad because necros are something that can kill bunkers. So I try to go to mid to split their team up a little bit more, but the Guardian doesn't fall for it and stays mid. However, the Condi Rev does come to try to get something done. This is their win condition right now. So instead of try to fight at far, I prevent their Condi Rev from coming into far by, cutting them off in roads. And at this point, we've got the kill on the Condi Rev, so we don't need to play too aggressively. We just need to survive on nodes. So what I'm doing is giving support to my team with the agility signet when I see that it's necessary, and just holding the node so that they can get off the node at any point in time in case they're pressured. So yeah, we just allow our team to survive here and just play very safe, and I don't want to die, so I disengage and then get back on the node. This is basically like trading aggro. So if you like the video, like it, subscribe for more commentary videos like this, And of course, leave a comment down below if you think I could have done something better in this match, or you have a question about a decision I made.